Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. I hope all of you are in a good condition. Welcome back to our English syntax after having Idul Fitri holiday last week. Here we are already in meeting 14. We're going to discuss about some topics in this meeting. Let's start by Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's start from the first one. We are going to discuss about aspect. We usually know this kind of things when we learn about tenses, but actually tenses it not consists of a single element. It consists of several elements. The first one is aspect. Aspect tells whether a situation is ongoing or completed, repeated, or habitual. While tense, it represents the locations of a situation in the past, present, or future time, or of two situations relative to each other in time. Here we know that the tense and aspect, it works together to help us in constructing a sentence construction. If we talked about tense, then we are referring to past, present, and future. But then usually when we learn about tenses, we will have simple past and then past continuous. Now the aspect of simple and then continuous or progressive, perfect progressive, it is called as aspect. In English, there are generally accepted to be four aspects and they change how the verb is formed. So the different aspect will require the different form of the verbs. In simple or progressive or perfect, we will have different forms of the verbs. We have simple, progressive, perfect, and perfect progressive. And it is all, they are all applied in past, present, or future. Then we will have at least 12 combinations of the English tense. Let's restart from the first aspect. It is called a simple aspect. I have two sentences here. I drive to central London every day and she worked there for 20 years. This is the simple aspect. This means that the speaker thinks about the action as completed or reasonably permanent. Even though it has different tense, the first one is present while the second one is past, but both of the sentence constructions, it has simple aspect. Or we call it simple present and simple past. Progressive aspect. This is using progressive aspect, which suggests that the actions are in progress or were in progress and will end sometime soon because they are not permanent but only temporary. So we are focusing on the action which are in progress or it is temporary. So for the verb forms, we will have verb ing like this to be verb ing for the progressive aspect. Both of the sentences are having progressive aspect, but they have different tense. Yeah, the first one is simple present, and the second one, the first one is present progressive, and the second one is past progressive. Next one is perfect aspect. In this case, they are using the perfect aspect, which is used to show something completed before another action. So we can see the different forms of the verbs. Yeah, we have has, have, and had for the auxiliary, and we will have verb 3 in the sentence construction. The first one is called present perfect, and the second one is called past perfect. So the aspect is perfect, and it is signaled by auxiliary have plus verb 3. One is called as perfect progressive aspect. So we have the combinations of perfect and progressive. The perfect progressive aspect is the aspect of a verb that expresses the end of an ongoing action. The end of an ongoing action. I have two sentences. The octopus has been eating small crabs, and the octopus had been eating small crabs. Both have perfect progressive aspect. Has been eating and had been eating. The first one is in present and the second one is in past tense. Now let's see the correlation between tense and aspect. Notice how aspect is not necessarily related to the tense or time, but rather how the speaker feels about the action. So the aspect, it can be implemented for present, past, or future. And it's not only tied to a single tense. For example, I have the sentences I walked and I am walking. The difference here is not the tense, they are both present tense, but the aspect are different. The first one, it has simple aspect, and the second one, it has progressive aspect. Our next discussion will be about voice. I'm sure that you have already learned about these kind of things in your previous semester. I'm really sure of it. So as we know that the voice, it refers to the form of a verb that indicates when a grammatical subject performs an action or is the receiver of the action. When a sentence is written in the active voice, then the subject performs the action. In the passive voice, the subject receives the action. I have two sentences here. The first one represents the active voice. The dog ate our turkey. Here, the dog, it represents the subject, and it did the action. The dog ate our turkey. But in passive voice, we will see the subject of the sentence, it becomes the receiver of the action. Our turkey was eaten by the dog. I will not discuss again about the sentence constructions of the active and passive voice because I'm really sure that you have already learned and mastered it. Last one, let's talk about tense. In English, there are some debates about tense. Some consider 12 kind of tense and aspect combination, but some others also believe that there are 16 tense. In my opinion, I use 3 kind of tense, and with its combination with the aspects, then it has 12 kind of tenses in English. How about the other 4? I consider it as a special construction which is only used for conditional expression. So let's have 3 kind of tense here, present, past, and future. As we know that present tense is used to refer to events, action, or condition that are happening all the time or exist now. The past is used to describe an event or an action that happened in the past. And the last one is the future. It is used to describe the things that haven't yet happened at the present time, but it is expected or likely to occur in the future. When we talked about tense and its aspect, we are sometimes finding the confusing tenses. Here I noticed some of the combination that possibly cause confusion. The first one is between simple present and present continuous. Both are present, but they have different aspects. Let's have a look at the sentence that I present here, and please pause your video try to answer it by yourself before you continue to the next slides, because the next slides will show us the key. So you can have a look at this sentence, sentences, and then try to learn or try to answer by yourself before you continue to the next slide. You can pause it now. Here you will find the answer of the previous slide. You will see the different use of the tense between simple present and present progressive or present continuous. The second confusing tenses is between simple past and past perfect. Here I also present only a short paragraph talking about an event that require us to use simple past and past perfect. You can pause it here and try to answer by yourself. This is the answer from the previous slides, and you can compare your answer with this one. The next combinations of tenses which may cause confusion is simple past and past perfect. Right? You can try it first before you continue to the next slide. And here's the answers of the previous slides. You can compare and you can think about your answer. And this is the last one that I present. It's between the present perfect and present perfect progressive. Here I presented in the conversation. Then you can try to answer it by yourself first. You can pause the video before you continue to the next slide. Well, class, and this is the last one. It consists of the answers of the previous slides. You can compare your answers. Okay, well then, this is all for our learning video today. That for our today's meeting, we talked about aspect, tense, and voice. I put the attention for the use of tense and aspect. Sometimes it can result in confusion, but then the key is we need to know in detail how we should implement a tense and aspects combination based on the context. Okay, if there are any questions dealing with these materials, I think we can discuss it to our WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for the attention, and see you in the next meeting. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.